I want to talk for just a minute today about being nice to people whenever you're out and about shopping. I've talked about this before, but I do think it bears repeating just because it makes a difference. um, it's I don't remember who I picked it up from, but um, anytime I leave a garage sale, I always tell people good luck with your sale, whether I buy something or not, whether or not they give me a deal or not. It's just, a courteous thing to do. I know they're out there trying to get rid of their junk, but they're putting opportunities in front of me to be able to buy stuff at a pretty good price and resell it. So that's pretty awesome. But I have a really good example. So, and before I get into this, it only works if you're being nice, like for real, authentically. So if you're just pretending to be nice, people can usually see through that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that I'm just some amazing person, but I'm generally a nice person. I don't get crazy or huff and puff or, unless my wife and I are picking paint colors for the house. But that's another story. So, but it really only works if you're being authentic with it. So, yeah. So here's the story. I'm at Goodwill on Monday, and I'm going through the hard goods section, and I come across a Wagner wallpaper steaming. So it's a steamer wallpaper remover. So it comes with a little. I have it up here. I'm not going to dig it out. It's all bagged up, but it's got a little reservoir. You plug it in, so it heats up the water. It's got a heating element inside. And then there's a piece that you move up and down on the wallpaper through the hose. There's this piece attached, and it just steams the wallpaper so you can take it off easier. The only reason I knew that is because the house we're updating had a lot of wallpaper in it. We happened to borrow one of those from a family friend and used it, and it helped quite a bit. And I saw this sitting on the shelf, and it was brand new. There was no box, but I saw the parts there. The hose was still wrapped up in the bag, original seal with the twist ties and everything. And I start flipping all the pieces over. The manual's there, all of it. I start flipping all the pieces over, and you know what I couldn't find anywhere? Is a price tag. And I knew it. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no price tag on this thing. And so I'd already picked up this little coffee maker, this little vintage. It's an actual coffee maker in a case that's got a carry strap. It's a really cool piece for $4.89 for the whole deal. And so I've got that over my shoulder. And what I'm going to do is take this up to the front, and the ladies that work up there, I see them just about every morning, or every morning that I'm there. And so whenever I walk in, I always hear, "Welcome to Goodwill." I mean, and I hear that at a lot of the Goodwills, not all of them, but almost all of them. And if you pay attention, most people, they hear that and they just keep walking. Some people turn their head. Some people may say something maybe, but the door is right by the counter. So whenever I walk in, they say, "Hey, welcome to Goodwill." I say, "Hey, how's it going?" And so I'm the guy who's always walking through the door going, "Hey, how's it going?" And I've never heard anybody else say that while I was there. So I don't know. There's probably other people that do it. But I noticed that after some amount of time, one of the ladies in particular, like whenever I'd be out on the floor shopping, if she was stocking stuff, she'd go, "Oh, hey, how's it going? How are you doing today?" And, I'm a frequent enough shopper that, we end up talking and stuff like that. But it was, yeah, so I think that kind of thing helps. So back to the steamer. I take it up front. And I've done this a few different times with stuff I found that wasn't priced that I did want to buy, is I just hand it to them and I say, "Hey, I just noticed this didn't have a price on it. I'll buy it tomorrow. Whenever I'm here tomorrow, I'll come back and buy it." And they kind of laugh and they put it back behind the counter. And so I had this little coffee maker sitting up there, and I set it down, and there was two ladies up there that are typically always up there. And I handed them the steamer. I said, "By the way, this is all this stuff goes together. You should probably maybe put it in a bag or something." They said, "You know what? I bet it was in a bag and somebody ripped it open or something." So She goes, "Are you going to return it?" I was like, "No, I'm not going to return it." And so one of the ladies goes, "Just scan that barcode twice." And so I got a better deal than I thought I would have. If it had been priced, I think somebody might have priced it upwards of like $7.89 or $8.89. But I got it for $4.89 plus tax. So I got a really, really good deal on it. I'm going to sell it for about $40 as a new open box because all the parts are brand new. It's got the manuals and everything, and make a pretty nice little profit on it. But that's not where the story ends. Like that alone, I was like, wow, that was really cool. But the story doesn't end there. Yesterday, Wednesday, I'm back at the same Goodwill. I'm back in the hard goods section. I'm looking around and I see this random little plastic piece with like I see threads on the end of it, like something attaches to it. And I pick it up and I was like, oh my gosh, this is another part to that steamer. It has the instructions on the side that shows the steam in it. And I was like, this is for like around doorways and stuff where you don't have a lot of space. It was a much smaller piece. So I get all my stuff that I'm buying and I take it up there. And one of the ladies that had helped me was there. And I said, this is going to be a really weird question or statement. And she was like, well, try me. I said, remember that steamer I bought the other day? And she goes, yeah. I said, this part actually goes to it. I just found it back there on the shelf. And this is for smaller spaces. It's the same thing, but it's for smaller spaces, but for that steamer. And she goes, oh, okay. Well, we'll just put it in your bag whenever before you leave. And I was like, man, I wasn't sure how that conversation was going to go. If it was going to be one of the people I knew that had helped me before, because, somebody may think, oh, he's just trying to take this piece. He needs it for something he has at home. But, yeah, and I you got to be careful the way you talk about things because you don't want to appear scammy. I'm definitely not out there trying to, scam Goodwill out of a little plastic piece. But that's where I think, spending the time building relationships in the places you go, it can pay off. I got a good deal on the steamer in the first place, and they trusted me enough, having been there so many times, to say, hey, this is actually went with that thing, that there was not even a question. They just threw it in the bag before I took off with my other stuff. So that's really it. Just be nice to people. You just have no idea beyond the effect it can have on you whenever, you are maybe getting an extra deal or something like that. You have no idea what kind of effect it has on other people who maybe who maybe needs somebody to be nice to them that day. A smile, a wave, how are you doing today? Just paying attention to other people whenever you're out and about. It can make a lot of difference. So do that. All right. Yesterday on eBay, I sold 7 things. It was a pretty good day. Whenever I was at 4 things, I was like, man, it'd be so cool if for the 3rd day in a row I sold 5 things. That would be so cool. And then I sold the 5th thing, and it was actually the 5th and 6th thing together. And then later on, as I was cleaning up here in the warehouse, my storage unit, I was just walking out the door and somebody bought thing number 7. And it was like, woohoo. So it was about $225-ish day yesterday, something like that, top line sales. So profit will be somewhere around $100. So not the best, but definitely, I've done much, much worse. And I remember the first time I sold like up to 7 items a day, I was like, it completely blew my mind. Like I didn't even think it was possible for me. And now for whatever reason, especially on Wednesdays, I've had a handful of Wednesdays where I sold 7 items on a Wednesday, which I don't know if there's is it a full moon or something? I don't know. But let's take a look at the sales. And I'm just going to go in the order things sold in and give you the details. First item that sold, first thing in the morning. And this could have been a good sign. So were these Praying Hands salt and pepper shakers. My wife picked these up and showed them to me to sale. They were $1, so picked these up for $1. Really nice pieces, made in Japan. They got the stoppers in them. If they didn't have the stoppers, I probably wouldn't have bought them, but they had the stoppers in them. And sold those on an offer for $7.56 plus shipping. I think I had them for $9.89. They've been sitting for a while. There's a lot of them out there. So I just sent the offer and hoped somebody would buy them, and they did. So yeah. Next up, I love selling hammers. They're easy to ship. They don't break, which is nice. But I got these two vintage claw hammers. They're no brand. They're unbranded. And this one might be branded. The head is like really, it's pretty beat up. But I put them together, and the handles are in good shape. So they're good to go. But I put them together for $19.89. I paid $1 a piece. So I've got $2 into the pair, sold them for $19.89 plus shipping. And I've had those for probably about 2.5 months. I think the unbranded thing makes them much slower of a seller. This item was a Goodwill pickup. This is a vintage Pampered Chef. So you might see the 1998 right over there. This is in a really good shape for a piece from 1998. It's 27 years old. I picked that up at Goodwill. There was a pizza stone I sold the other day that was like, it was a 2-pack for just a little under $10. And this was the other piece. So I paid $5.40 for the one piece here and sold it on an offer for $39.91 plus shipping. I did have it marked up a little bit. I think maybe $45.89 because I'd seen another one, a vintage one like this sell. But I just sent an offer, sold it for $39.91 plus shipping. This one, it's interesting. It actually feels lighter than the newer pieces. I might have that backwards, but it feels, for a Pampered Chef piece, it feels a little bit light. But yeah, so I'm going to pack the heck out of that one. And just a side note on packing Pampered Chef. Whenever I do that, what I do is I've got some, if you see right up here, a bunch of just cardboard pieces from different stuff. So if I cut down boxes or whatever, I save the cardboard pieces. And what I do is I wrap this in cardboard. So it's kind of like a box in a box, but I'll wrap it, long ways all the way around, and then this way all the way around. I don't necessarily wrap the whole thing, but I make sure that it's protected on the sides and it's got extra protection. And then I will wrap it. A lot of times I'll put it in a little 1 or 2 layers of bubble wrap around it. And then I usually on something like this, I'm going to use probably a 5 to 6 inch tall box. I do a lot of packing paper on the bottom, around the edges and sides. And so basically it's like in a cocoon of packing paper inside. I've shipped a decent amount, not a lot, but a decent amount of Pampered Chef. And I've not had any pieces break at any point. So yeah, that's what I do to ship Pampered Chef. The next one was more cookware. So this one, interestingly enough, I had made a bunch of offers on this because I wasn't getting any bites, and no bites on my offers, but then somebody paid full price. So this is a vintage Revereware. So it's got a pre-1968 saucepan. You can tell by the rivets, and it's got the double ring on the bottom. But pre-1968 3-quart saucepan. After 1968, steamer insert and a lid. So it's a 3-piece set. Sold that for $42.89 plus shipping. Paid $9 for the set. Sold it for $42.89 plus shipping. That's going to be super easy to ship. Let's see what's next. So this one was, so number 5 and number 6 was the same buyer. I had sent offers out on items that I was able to send offers on, and 2 of them, the same person was looking at them. So he wanted this Masters shirt that I picked up at my local Goodwill. Same place I bought the Pampered Chef pan. Then, if you can believe it, there's 3 pair of shorts. 1, 2, 3 in this one bag. These are FootJoy golf shorts. They're very lightweight. I picked these up at another Goodwill about 15 minutes from here. So for the shorts, I've got $17.26 in the 3 pair, and I sold them for $38.16. I'm gonna get some coffee. Scratching my throat. And for the master shirt, paid $7.48, sold that for $19.46. He did ask me to combine shipping, which I'll do. So I've got $18 in shipping is what he paid. Excuse me. So I'll just, once I get the actual shipping price for both things, I'll just refund the difference. I could probably keep $1 or $2 if I wanted to for fees and all that kind of stuff, but if somebody asks me to combine shipping and I tell them I'm going to refund the difference, I just refund the whole difference. Just easier that way than if they somehow are doing the math and then I'm doing the math, and so I won't make any money on shipping on that one. That's okay. And then these Sperry sneakers. I have another pair of these in a different size. These are a 9.5, but I picked these up at Ross. This is part of my retail arbitrage experiment about 8 months ago. But I picked these up for $32.61 and sold them for $52.89 plus shipping. So I'll actually make a little bit of money on those. Not a lot. Probably once it's all said and done, maybe 10 or 12 bucks. But I will make a little bit of money. So glad to see those get out the door. Another Ross item out of my life. Oh man. It's so funny. I was watching Rad Resells the other day. If you don't watch, oh man, if you don't watch Rad Resells, it is hilarious. But yeah. So especially here, Natalie, whenever she says Goodwill, I tried to say it one time to emulate her, and it's like, I can't even say it the way she says it. But Will and Natalie are hilarious. But they did a couple episodes on retail arbitrage at Ross. And as soon as I saw the title, I was like, no, it's a trap. But they actually bought a couple cool pairs of like Doc Martens and a couple of good sneakers in the clearance section. So you can make a little bit of money if you buy stuff in the clearance section. But they're all over clothing and shoes. That's their deal. Primarily. They do some dry goods, hard goods, but shoes and clothing is their deal, and they do really well at it. So they bought some cool stuff. They did. Well, that's it. That is everything that I sold yesterday, all 7 items. I already got a couple of sales that rolled in this morning for tomorrow's video, which I'm excited about. So I've got some more stuff to list, to get sold. The weekend is fast approaching, and I'm just like chomping at the bit. I've got to list more things to sell over the weekend. I did just put up that set of Revereware right there. It's a whole set. I forget what I listed it for, $179, $189, something like that. So hopefully we can get that guy sold. We'll see. But if you stuck around this long in the video, YouTube thinks you might want to take a look at this video right here. Until next time, have a great day.